Welcome to Artists of Color, the show that shines a spotlight on the brilliant Black and brown artists shaping Boston's creative landscape. From painters to poets, musicians to muralists, we celebrate the voices, visions, and stories that too often go unheard. Each episode, we step into the world of these incredible artists, exploring their inspirations, their struggles, and their triumphs. This is more than just art. This is culture, history, and community in motion. Let me introduce myself. I am Elaine Hall-Corbin, and this is Artists of Color, a show that talks about and researches Black and brown artists of color and art with no bounds. Thank you for joining us today. And I have to say, I have an amazing guest. I mean amazing. I would like to introduce Catherine T. Morris, founder of Boston Arts Music and Soul Festival. Hey, Catherine.
Hey, Queen.
How you doing, girl?
It's a good day to be seen and to be in company with you.
Why, thank you. You know, we do. It's funny because I think we do this at least maybe once or twice a year.
Yes.
Because I have to catch you when I need to catch you.
Yes, you do.
So it's like, but I like the fact that we're doing it before the festival starts.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was doing some research. I mean, I know about the festival, but I was doing some old research.
Oh, boy.
And I was thinking and was in my head about how you are on the shoulders of those that have come before you.
Always.
You know, the great Elma I. Lewis. And when you said you did a panel discussion, and you talked about that, and I said, there we go.
Yes.
Because nobody, as far as I'm concerned, has done what you're doing.
Thank you. That means a lot.
You took the Playhouse in the Park, and you made it what she started with.
Yes.
Because I remember being a little person, okay? Yes, I haven't gotten any bigger. But I remember at the ages of 12, 13, and 14 years old, going to the park to see the Playhouse in the Park.
Yes.
And it was interesting because I remember when she started, and she used to say, we don't need no Boston police.
No.
Because we know what we're doing. And the reason for that is she had the men from the mosque up there, and they were the ones that took care of everything. And that, but it was like, that was the way to do it.
Yes.
You
I
know,
agree.
we need to take care of our own.
We do.
And I like for the fact that you're piggybacking on that, and you're doing the same.
Yes.
You are doing exactly the same.
It's always an honor to pay homage to those who have
paved the
way, made the torch a little bit lighter for me. Yes.
Absolutely. I want you to tell my folks out there how the festival got started.
Well, I mean, a lot of it was inspired by just a variety of different folks, but Elma Lewis being the primary queen, and reading the history and meeting so many different people to get a sense of what Playhouse in the Park was, how it came to be, and how to honor the nostalgia of that, but also be futuristic.
Okay.
So between Elma Lewis and what she built, there was a show that used to come on TV called Sinbad Summer Jams.
Yes.
I would watch that series.
Did you?
Yes, with my parents. I was so inspired. I'm like, wow. And I would watch my parents, dance in the living room and talk about a Boston that I had never experienced.
Oh, wow.
WLD concerts I would used to go to. I would hear about Uptown in the Park all the time.
Oh, there you go.
So there were all these pillars, and I'm like, so what is the culminating events that bring it all together? And I learned that over years' time, that was declining.
Yeah.
And so
it was.
Coupled with that, just the I would say, complaining, if you will, from artists and creatives, and
that they had no place.
yeah, and that just Boston had nothing to offer.
Offer.
And instead of just sitting there and taking it, I'm like, all right, well, let's just go do something
about it.
So Bands Fest was born out of those conditions and circumstances. And it was originally supposed to debut in 2014.
And then guess what happened?
I was told that it would never happen.
What?
And I said, well, I'll see you in 4 years. And just like in Boston, you cannot come out with just this big idea. You have to show proof.
Proof
that you know what you're doing. So for 4 years, I would test out different elements of that festival concept.
Okay.
Just to get buy-in from our community, so that when we debuted in June 2018, it was familiar.
Yes.
And so even though it rained the first year, it was horrible.
I was sitting there at 10:30 in the morning in a chair. Cat comes by me and says, "Why are you here so early?"
Yeah, I'm not mad at you though. I appreciate you. But no, 2,200 people stayed in the rain for 8 hours.
Yes, they did.
And it cemented everything for me that Boston gave me the gift of being a kid and being able to be raised in a community that everyone knows each other. And so to see that camaraderie and unity, I'm like, we're on to something.
Yes, you are.
And so
yes, you were.
We have grown since then.
And here we are.
Yes, seventh year.
I know.
I was a little baby when you met me, but been through some things now.
Oh, honey, you have gone through it, come back around, and still here.
Yes, ma'am.
And you will always be, as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you.
Thank you. I liked, that little phrase that I said about art and there being no boundaries.
None.
Because there are no boundaries.
Not when it's your imagination.
That's right.
Right. That's the beauty of what artists and creatives do for the rest of us.
Yes.
That don't have the time and space, is they get to dream for us and imagine alternative universes and futures that can, at least for the moment, allow us to escape to those places.
That's true.
And I just find that not only fantastic, but also a responsibility
to
support
that. Because I noticed when you did the first one in 2018, and I came to the park, and I said, she's got a little bit of everything.
Yes.
You had music, you had poetry, you had art.
Yes.
I loved it when I still got pictures. It was amazing.
Thank you.
And you had vendors. You had everything that Black and brown artists are and what the culture is about.
Yes, I wanted to make sure we were preserving some of the nostalgia of WLD, what Elma Lewis had created, and like a little bit extra, right?
I liked a little bit extra. That was cool.
So it's very intentional. It's not random. It's very, very intentional about the curation of the experience, because we didn't have enough. And now
we got a whole lot.
We got a whole bunch, which I'm very happy about. It just wasn't a thing then.
Yes. It's wonderful to know that you do this. And and I happen to have another queen with us today.
Yes.
And I love it's wonderful to put all my queens together. So I want to take a short break because we need another queen to come out and put us all together. So all my audience out there in TV land, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.
R&B, hip-hop, and reggae were just some of the many genres performed at the 6th Annual Boston Art and Music Soul Festival at Franklin Park on June 29th.
And all melanated people of the diaspora, because this is the Boston Black Arts and Music Soul Festival. So y'all give it up for yourselves for being outside, doing black.
Known to locals as BAMS Fest, the 2-day-long event showcased a diverse range of Black artists to amplify the voices of local and national Black and brown performers, empower Black creativity, and serve as a summer treat to Bostonians. Founder and executive director of BAMS Fest, Catherine Morris, says that since she founded the festival in 2015, The event has grown from 4 artists to now over 800 performers across Massachusetts.
Black music is American history, it's global history, and it's important that we celebrate that constantly and remind people that even though the world is hard and difficult, when you turn to the arts, when you turn to Black arts, Black music, you can be transformed.
Black joy was on full display as attendees weren't just fed with music, but also food, services, and art from local vendors in order to elevate Black entrepreneurship along with entertainment.
It's for us, by us, right? And it's just affirming to keep these dollars within the Black community and for us to support Black culture in this way. You know, I'm an Afro-Latina, I understand my roots, you know. I understand that when they abducted our ancestors, the only difference was the port they dropped us off at, so I very much claim my Black roots, right? And so being here is about celebrating that.
In a lot of spaces, especially for me, like in the creative space, you don't necessarily see the follow-through. You don't know where your creativity can lead. And it's nice to be able to see diversity within that we're not a monolith, we can be many, many things, and we can do and create differently in so many ways. So I think it's important to be able to know that you can be more than you can imagine, and you have spaces like this where you can dream and actually see manifestations of someone else's dream.
Attendees say events like this one represent a bigger picture of breaking down racial and economic barriers in Greater Boston.
I love venues like this is because we get to see that we exist, and we're going to continue to exist if we support each other financially, economically, and culturally.
I feel like it's important because it like brings everything together, kind of like a family reunion, but just like new people. So you get to meet new people, get to see new people, experience new things.
Here behind me, about 10,000 people and more than 30 musical artists came out to celebrate the weekend-long event all together. For BNN News, I'm Akua DeVal.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Artists of Color, where, again, I will say, creativity has no bounds. And I am saying that for my other guest, the great and illustrious Lisa Simmons.
Ooh, illustrious.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I'm going to have to look that one up.
From the Roxbury International Film Festival, that when it first started, it was called the Roxbury Film Festival, and then the Dudley Film Festival, or the other way around. And I remember, because it was only 7 days.
Oh, no, it was
it was like
3 days.
3 days.
Yeah,
Hey,
it was short.
it's what happens when you get up there in age. But it was, I remember going, you know, and I had just started a publication.
Right,
And
you did.
that was my first article that I wrote.
Wow, really?
Was on the festival. Yes.
Well, thank you.
It was the very first article I wrote. Yep.
That's
I will
incredible.
Never forget it.
I like that. I like having firsts. I like being able to have people have firsts in the work that we create and the work we do. That's really exciting.
Yeah, it is. And now you are going into year 26.
27.
27?
I'm feeling it.
Oh, I'm
Getting close to
losing
30.
I know.
I've lost a year.
I'm feeling it.
Oh my goodness. So how is it like being 27 years old?
It feels good. I mean, you know, it's a blessing, I feel like, being able to come back each year and having people want to be there when you're coming back 27 years. That's pretty good staying power, I think.
Yeah,
I think it's a testament not only to the filmmakers who are creating this amazing work, but the audience members who support and love the work that we're doing. And so we'll continue to do it for, you know, as long as that's there. And we know it will be there forever because there are incredible storytellers.
That's right.
Yeah.
Incredible artists out there. The name changings. Why did it go from the Dudley Film Festival to the Roxbury International Film Festival? That's a big change.
Yeah, I mean, after the first year, the Dudley Film Festival, we realized that there was a Dudley Film Festival at Harvard.
Oh,
and so
I
we
never
were like,
knew that.
I know, because it was apparently named after Dudley. and then just went to Roxbury Film Festival. So originally, right, it was Dudley Film Festival because we wanted it to be Dudley Square, right? It was really a focus on Dudley Square. And then just put the name Roxbury, obviously, because that's really where we were doing most of our work and our screenings at the Roxbury Film Festival. And about 12 or so years later, it became the International Film Festival because we realized that we were getting films from all over the world. And why not, why not call it that? Why not, give ourselves that international
flair,
name and that international flair, which really sort of opened up doors for more people coming in. So it stuck. And here we are. And then we went to Roxfilm as sort of like a shortened version of it. It was Riff. Everyone called it Riff. Riff on Riff, Riff on Riff. And then we did a whole new branding and logo design and came up with Roxfilm. But the funny thing is that we're the only people know that Roxbury's black. So we're not. So we're always like we're like jumping up and down saying we're a black and brown festival. They're like, well, how do we know that? I'm like, well, because it's Roxbury. And then I'm like, oh, wait. People don't necessarily, right? But we never wanted to change it. We really felt like it was important to just constantly have that name Roxbury in it.
Yeah. All right. I love that because it doesn't change.
No.
Let us still know, it's still Roxbury.
It is, and Roxbury still ours. So
that's
as long as we have that.
That's true. My biggest question to you, and I'm going to ask you the same question. Yeah, you're going to get it.
We've had these this week.
Yeah. See, her and I have been having this We're on this circuit. We're on the press circuit together.
Her and I have been having this conversation, and I haven't gotten to that question yet. So I'm going to start with you.
Oh, God.
How do you sit and go through so many films to decide what you're going to promote? What are you going to put on the circuit? Because that, to me, is a lot of work.
It's a huge process. I mean, we open our submissions in September.
Right.
We close them in March. We get about, I think this year we got about 250. Shorts, features, docs, narratives, experimental. We've been doing this a long time. And, my sister Allison is the co-director. And so, you get a feel for it. I'm sure Kat's the same way. You get a feel for what your audience wants. And then you say, okay, we can craft a festival with these things that we have. Right. And then there are these ones on the side that you're like, if we have time, we want to fit them in. But then there's always those ones too where we're like, we're going to push our audience, right? We're going to bring something. We're going to, expand their horizons in something that we're going to bring. And so I think that's important, is knowing who your audience is and knowing what is going to resonate. But I think that this year, and Kat, I don't know if this is for you, but just like in looking at all the erasure of black culture, we really were looking at films that were going to help tell those stories. I mean, we always talk about we're a festival that raises and lifts untold voices, right? And underrepresented voices. But I think this year in particular, we were really we really wanted to think through how we could not just present them, but give filmmakers a better opportunity to talk about them. So sort of more time after the film screen for Q&A. Really excited about, so many local filmmakers. I think like 40% of the festival is local filmmakers. So it's really feels like a homecoming that we're giving opportunity to people that came to the festival 10, 15 years ago, maybe just as observers, or wanting to be in the festival, and now they have their own production companies. They're creating great work, and we're having the opportunity to have them at Roxbury. So I think for us, it was really sort of, we have a great new film on Harriet Tubman. It's sort of like Harriet Tubman that you didn't know. Did you know she was a spy for the Union Army? Did you know, she was, everybody knows her as one thing. And we felt it was really important as they were trying to take her off the federal. And so we see that, between books being taken away from libraries, from well-known people to, that there are all these other people that we don't know about, that we should know about, and for our culture. So we really sort of thought a lot about that. And it's not easy. I mean, there's always that one or two, films that we're like, oh, we really need that to be in, and for some reason it doesn't fit, because it comes down to being a puzzle, right? We have a theme, and Kat and I were talking about this before, we stack our, you know, when you go see a short film, the first film is there for a reason, the last film's there for a reason, and the way it's set up is there because we're telling you a story. Sometimes films don't fit in that, so it's heartbreaking if something can't get in, right? I agree. And so the curation part of it is, I think people don't understand when you come see that has been so thought out for an audience experience.
Mm-hmm. No, I would agree. Do I have the same question?
Yes. You have the same question.
I mean, when we started our festival in 2018, similar to Roxfilm International Film Festival, like 5,000 applications were coming from around the world.
Oof. Wow.
And we had to look at all 5,000 applications.
Did you have to look at all 5,000?
We did.
You have to look at everything.
Yeah, well, I know y'all had a lot of work.
It's changed since COVID because people have moved and, you know, just folks have tapped out of creating. So we've seen an interesting decline, but the diversity of that has been more robust, which is great. But what I always say to folks who are like, well, this is not a typical festival, it's because we pride ourselves on curating the local piece first, that then dictates who we bring in at a celebrity level. Yes. And even that celebrity level is, are they going to be good examples for the lineup that we're curating locally? And if it's if there's not a match, then we continue to go down the list of potential headliners. But like those folks have to do things beyond the stage, because character matters to us, legacy matters to us, right? And we've been very fortunate from our very first festival that our headliners have come back, they've given lectures, they've come to our communities, like we've been very thoughtful about that. But it is a puzzle, and oftentimes every year when we open our application and we close and local artists see who's on the lineup, they're like, well, I deserve.
Oh, I can hear that.
And I'm like, it's just not your year. And I tell them, like, keep applying, it's just not your year.
Yeah.
Because the pool actually starts to craft itself when you start seeing certain things, or you're being responsive to the times as a curator. And when you do that, you know, there's plenty of artists I would love to feature, but in this moment, you know, discovery is really the anchor we have to lean on this year, because we cannot think that or assume that Black and brown artistry is a monolith. We're in punk, we're in rock, we're in EDM, we're in classical. So we have to push our local community to see beyond just R&B and soul. Like, we have punk this year, and I have no idea how that's going to...
But that's it, you need to do that. It's like pushing the audience. You have to,
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And that's the fun part for me.
What, pushing the audience?
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, to see the reaction and introducing something that is unexpected.
Absolutely.
I think that's important too for us, for audience members to grow. I mean, you know, we started as a filmmakers festival and really, you know, focusing on the filmmakers, but then realizing it really is the audience who is just as important in learning about these stories. So
when the time comes, and this is another question for both of you, when the time comes for the fitting part, like the reason I say that is that last year when I was at the festival, there were 3 shorts that I stayed and watched, and they all connected from the first. It had to do with sports and cross country.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Yes.
And then the last one was similar to that. The very last one, the one in the middle had sports, but it had young girls in sports.
Right.
But they all connected. How, and I'm going to ask you, how, and you may have answered, how did you make that connection?
I mean, you know, like I was saying before, it is a puzzle, and you know, the way it happens at Rox is that we have a big table and everything.
I've seen the big table.
Yes, and Allison does index cards, and it's a shuffling game, right? And then you're like, oh, but this goes with this, and then it's like, oh, I remember that this theme connected with this. Sometimes we're like, oh my God, that's like beautiful. I had no idea, you know, like, and you'll see that this year, and that's the part that's like this aha moment where you're like, oh my gosh, and here we're starting you here, and it may be a really intense like conversation about I don't know, like about relationships or something, and then you get into like relationships about husband and wife, a relationship about a father and son, a relationship about friends, a relationship, and then at the end, and then it weaves its way from sadness to understanding to joy, right? And so. And it's all planned that way, right? It's not like, oh, here's a bunch of shorts, let's just screen them. I mean, I don't think that does any service to filmmakers. I don't think it does any service to audience makers. So, for audiences. So, I think it is. That's the hard part. I mean, it's not like you curate and then you're like done. It's like it takes weeks. Like you do a first pass and then you look at it, you walk away and you look at it and you say, does that really tell the story we want to tell? No, because let's take this, but if we take this out of here and put it in here, then what fits in here? And then there's frustration, there's anger, then there's joy, right? Then there's joy because you're like, oh my gosh, I love this block. Like we have this incredible block from the NABJ, it's like history, it's like our legacies, from the history of the NABJ to a new short film on busing called Never Cried, which is so beautiful, you're gonna, it's like amazing about about women, young girls who had to go through the busing and they used to, I could never cry. So it's just, anyway, it's beautiful. And then we've got the Mel King little short doc after that called The Brunch, and other films that are in like Red Line Narratives is in that too.
Oh, okay.
So like there's that, so it's like this whole like legacy, and you might not think NABJ fits in there, but it is. It's all journalism and stories that that sort of need to be told and that come to life, and so yeah, it's very intentional about putting those shorts together.
Agree. I mean, I've done this several ways. So
We're waiting for your several ways.
Well, initially when I started, I was reviewing all the applications, so that took a lot of time.
That a lot of time.
And then I decided that the local artists we featured the first 2 years, coming out of COVID, I brought them on to review all the applications.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
and they're like,
not?
oh, we understand why it takes you so long
to put this together.
But I literally, I brought them to my house, I ordered food, we had Post-its, and they was just like, so, here's the stage, here's the timeline.
That's the other thing, the
who's
timeline.
going to kick the energy off, and we need to end here. And how are we fitting all of that in between? It was a teachable moment, but it was also, I wanted to gauge how artists support other artists. Right? We did that for 2 years, and our lineups were incredible. And then this year, because the applicant pool was a little smaller, it was a lot easier to manage with my actual team. But I've tried it different ways because, one, 5,000 applications is a lot, but two, what's interesting is you get to see where folks have their finger on the pulse of different genres. And like, okay, Boston doesn't have this. We should probably have this at Bands Festival, because there's already a movement happening in LA. It's not, we need to bring it here.
Yes.
So it's also a very informative process about the curation. I've done it all kinds of ways. I ultimately have the final say, but I think about, okay, the sun is gonna set at around 6 o'clock. The audience is gonna change. So who locally is going to
bring that audience in?
And that's where the lineup sometimes may look crazy to everybody else, but it has to make sense because we're outside.
Amen to that one.
Okay. If you're there all day, great. If you're not, there's about 3 or 4 points throughout 10 hours.
Yes.
The audience is changing over constantly. So we have to figure out locally who are the shapers of the experience sonically. All the other things are going to be what they are.
Right.
But the excitement of, okay, I'm going to go at this time because I know what I'm going to get.
Okay.
And so think about all those elements. It is a puzzle. It is a puzzle.
It is, and the local piece of it is very important, because we do the same thing. We pepper in our local filmmakers with our filmmakers from around the world. And because you are looking at audience, and you know they're going to bring an audience, but also because we also want our local filmmakers to meet other filmmakers, right, from around the world, and develop this bond and this relationship, because they're going to see each other again. They're going to be in other festivals, you know. And I feel like for Rox, it's really important that we hold filmmaker hangouts every night. We do it every night. Oh my gosh, it's exhausting, but it's important because it's the place where they get to meet each other, where they get to be with each other, where they get to, exchange information and develop some sort of camaraderie, because they're going to go to Real Sisters, or they're going to go to Real Black, or they are going to meet each other in other places, and there's no hierarchy. There's not like, oh, you're a headliner, so you can go to this party, but other people can't. Everyone's invited to everything, and I think that's the most important thing too, is that filmmakers come in and might go to other festivals and say, oh, like I didn't get to go to that. I know this was happening, and I'm like, that doesn't happen here. You can go, you can go to wherever you want to go.
We're going to take a break.
Okay.
And then we're going to come back and continue this conversation, because I got a question for you.
Oh, another one.
And we're going to talk about that, because I got this question. Hello, I'm Elaine Hall-Corbin, founder and executive director of Humanistic Communications, Inc. Humanistic Communications is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to provide a platform for Boston's Black art scene, promoting and sharing information about Black cultural activities and productions through various media channels, such as our monthly television broadcast, Artists of Color, quarterly online publication, Humanistic Guide, and our women's project, Voices of Sisterhood. We envision a vibrant and diverse Boston's art community that celebrates Black culture and provides opportunities for local artists to thrive and connect with audiences locally and beyond. For more information, visit our website at www.humanisticcommunicationsinc.com or scan our QR code. Thank you. Back, everyone, to Artists of Color and my amazing guest, Catherine T. Morris and Lisa Simmons.
Happy to be here.
The two, please. I'm going to do this all day and probably every day. Because, it was interesting, because when March came, and I was thinking about wanting to have you two here for that particular show, Women's Day.
Oh, right, Women's Month, yeah.
But I couldn't manage that one. But I got you now. And that makes me feel good. Kat?
Yes.
This question.
Uh-oh.
And this question has been, when we had COVID.
Yeah. I don't remember those times. I know.
And we couldn't do BAMs. There were two programs that you were doing, and I love them. Artdacity.
Yes.
I love that.
Thank you.
Tell me how you arranged to put that one together, because I never missed a day.
Oh, thank you.
I never missed
it was great.
a day.
Wow. Artdacity, it was a necessity, because creatives were living in isolation, and when you have a creative mind and your intellect, it does a lot to the body. And we were hearing not so good stories and people wanting an outlet, and there were just these alarming questions about what the future is going to be, and like, what do we need to be doing as a community, what are we doing as young people in different industries. And so Artdacity was the opportunity to create those conversations and put likely and unlikely people in virtual rooms.
Yes.
So that's also the magic we love to do.
Yeah.
But we learned so much as an organization about there's got to be more intention about collaboration versus co-opetition. And it's very important that we see ourselves as welders and drivers of many ecosystems. but especially in the creative space. There's a lot of cultural production, but there's not enough collaboration happening. And so to be able to, put different industries, put different disciplines in these rooms and talk about what does it mean to be non-binary and be in the film space? What does it mean to be a Black female chef? What is all
what
these,
does it mean to have mental health issues?
Yes,
I mean, there's so much intersectionality.
Oh, absolutely. And that part of it was just beautiful to see because folks were open.
Yes.
We're really open to have those conversations.
Yes, and that was a good thing that happened.
Yes.
I said, they're gonna be talking about mental health issues.
Yeah.
And to know that artists have those issues.
Oh my gosh, of course.
We don't see that.
Yeah.
You may, and I might to a point, but the creative mind and the community doesn't see that, because I remember Dr. Jackman and how she said, do you remember back in the day, mental health issues weren't talked about.
Right, well, especially in the Black and brown communities, they're not really talked about.
I mean, I remember that as a child growing up.
Right, no, you just kept moving, you just kept going,
kept going.
moving. But and then you find that a lot of artists, like pour in, their work becomes part of that healing process and part of that doing that process. Yeah. I mean, we did the same thing during the pandemic when we couldn't go inside and we couldn't, we couldn't have the festival, and we were like, we can't take a break. We can't miss a year, right? These filmmakers had taken such a long time to make these films. Like, you have to give them the opportunity, and so that's where daily script reads came in, because we were sort of like, a lot of people were going online, but we were like, we also need to add something to it. So script reads came in, but what we found too was holding a festival online, and then the filmmaker hangouts came out of that as well, was that we, at night from like 10 o'clock to 11:30 sometimes, we would open a Zoom link for filmmakers to come in and hang out. And I think we had our best participation because you're right, they were siloed, and they just wanted to talk to each other, and they would be talking about their films and just coming in and talking about their work and what they were doing and how they were feeling about sort of like being in isolation. And they're not used to living that way, right? And they're used to being on the circuit, and they're used to being in festivals. And so, I mean, that's where our online, then we went hybrid as we were moving out of the pandemic. And we realized that it wasn't just the pandemic, it was we have, people with accessibility issues and everything. It's really important to provide that opportunity for them to be able to view things online and be part of that community. So we've continued it. This year, we're doing it later. We're gonna be doing it in the fall or the winter, and not doing it right after the festival. So
you need a break.
Well, it's really a platform issue. It's really interesting because a lot of festivals aren't doing that anymore. A lot of festivals are like, no, we're just in person. And I think knowing our community, it's really important that we provide that for them. But I think, the great thing is that you had people that were from all over the world that were chiming in and watching films. We had great numbers of people that were coming to the festival. So I do think that, you can't stop. You've got to keep offering an opportunity for them to get together.
I agree. I mean, when outside of Audacity, we did Amplify the Soul.
Right, you did Amplify.
Couldn't remember that word at the
time.
time.
No, it's fine. There's a lot of acronyms.
I love that one.
And we had at that point, we had already selected our 2020 lineup.
Oh, really?
Wow. Yeah, of course.
And so we're like, well, we can't do what you've already So we're
put together.
But we didn't know the world. We all thought we were going to be back outside in 3 weeks, but.
Right, we did.
We took that 2020 lineup and converted to our 2021 festival and did Amplify the Soul series. So it was 11 concerts. But what we ended up doing, because what was important to us was we got to keep people working, and we got to keep making sure that folks are creating and that their work is seen. And so we were able to partner with 3 venues. Went through all the COVID training and everything else, but we were able to record in a very professional way.
I thought it was fantastic.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Hiring Black and brown production companies, and we still want this to feel as if, except now we're like 11 weeks. So, but what came out of that for certain performances was that we watched on the data side the amount of viewers and who was viewing, right?
Oh, okay.
And I remember the amount of comments of, I didn't know Boston had that. So even changing the online narrative about Boston, about Black and brown people living, working, and contributing here, and to have that series allow for that perspective was probably just one of the highlights for us. Outside of the performances and all the things that came out of it, but just to know that the world is watching.
Yeah, that was exciting. I think that was a big exciting part too. And we did the outdoor movie screening. And
they did.
And we ended up doing the circles. Like you couldn't be, like we could only have so many people. And they actually, the MFA actually made the circles where people could sit. I remember that. And we're like, are we really doing this? And we're like, yeah, we are. we are really doing this because we're providing an opportunity. You could be outside, and then we could do opening and closing inside, and then we had to follow the protocol. But it was sort of like, it was all worth it. It was all worth doing that to make sure that those filmmakers got the opportunity to screen their work.
Agreed.
What I'm going to ask both of you.
Okay.
Give my audience a little bit about what this year is going to be like, as far as lineups, just a little bit.
Do you want to start?
Oh.
You longer than me, so.
All right, so we go from the 19th to the 27th.
Yes,
now we
you
never screen on Juneteenth. We never do because we don't like to compete with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
But our opening night's always on Thursday, so we
Right.
figured we'll do it in the night. We'll do it at night, 7 o'clock. It's a free screening at the Museum of Fine Arts with a Faith Ringgold film called "Paint Me a Road Out of Here," which is really her work, and talking about elevating somebody, an artist who everyone knows as a quilt maker and as an artist, but she was also an avid advocate for incarcerated women. And so this is about the work that she did at Rikers Island. And so we just thought that was very fitting, and it's going to be amazing. And Catherine Gund, who made the film, is coming for the Q&A. And then, we have 100 films in between that.
You are not kidding.
That are about relationship shorts, that are about the community, that are about mental health, that are about formerly incarcerated folks, that are, youth films that are really incredible. We have films about reparations. And then we're closing with a BAMS Fest movie. So Catherine came to us early on in February and said, I had this film, do you want to put it in the festival? And we just said, sight unseen. Absolutely.
Sight unseen.
We'll close with it. And so
this is
because
great.
BAMS Fest opens on the 28th, so we said we'll make our closing night the 27th. So we're not overlapping with BAMS. And then we'll do the screening of that and have her performers who are going to be doing Q&A with Dart Adams on that this 27th. May the Lord Be With You is the film about Little Brother.
Yeah.
And then we're doing a opening night BAMS Fest party, which is also the closing night Roxfilm party. So when Catherine's talking about collaboration, I mean, we've been overlapping with each other each year, but this year we were like, we're going to do this. And so here we are. Yeah. And it's just, I mean, for me, it's like a huge highlight.
All I can say is, ladies, thank you for not making me have to run from the park to the festival and back to the park.
Well, you will have to run to the park to the festival, but that's okay.
Yeah, but it's going to be a little bit different.
Yes, there is. Yes.
There's a gap in between. Thank you very much.
So what we have done this year is BAMS Festival remains at Playset Field at Franklin Park. We are one day this year. Where we've extended our hours, so we're from noon to 10. We started off like noon to 7.
Yes.
So we're like a whole day. In addition to that.
Okay, there's an in addition.
Yes, we added 5 additional days of programming called Momentum.
Yes.
And that is a citywide series of events centering curators, producers, and artists of color to leverage what we have built to amplify them and center Boston as truly a creative hub and cultural destination that's for all, but that's told through Black and brown people. So everything from music, fashion, film, dance, you name it. It's all of these things, but at the core of it is to change again what Boston used to be and what it is and what it can be.
Yes.
So that people can start investing their dollars in our community, and we can grow the circulation of that dollar a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, and talk about like sort of like what Boston was. We're doing a whole workshop and section on Frank Silvera. So Frank Silvera was an actor in Boston in the Negro Theater during 1935 to 1939. He's my uncle, actually my great uncle, and we are now this year doing a beginning to have a workshop in his name and a scholarship in his name. We're screening a film, which is actually Stanley Kubrick's second film that he ever made that my uncle starred in, that we found, which is going to be really fun. And then we're going to have a conversation with family members and others about who Frank was and how important he was to the Black theater scene here in the early 30s. So that is going to be really exciting to do that. And then we also have an improv acting workshop and some other things that are happening. But that Frank Silvera program, which is happening on the 26th at Mass Art, is something that we're really excited and to bring a visibility to a man who was with Harry Belafonte and Sidney Poitier and was very much a civil rights activist, as they all were during that time. That he had his start here in Boston, went to New York, was on Broadway, and then off to LA. And Morgan Freeman created a program called the Frank Silvera Writers Workshop with another one of his good friends in honor of Uncle Frank. So we're going to bring all that back to Boston and have a yearly program honoring Uncle Frank.
There's a lot going on in June. There's
a lot of history that we're all trying to do both. Bring like Catherine said, the past to the present to the future.
And it's interesting that you mentioned Frank Silvera, because with all the stuff that I do and don't do, I'm starting a new project. Humanistic Communications wants to do a series on Black art of all mediums and how Black artists and art got started in Boston, when it got started up to the present. And you mentioning that, I said, okay, I gotta talk to Lisa some more.
Yes, yes you do.
There was Maud Cooney Hare, who was here in the 20s, who was doing theater at the Huntington.
I don't know these names.
At the Huntington Theater, right.
I don't know these names. But we're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back because we're running out of time. And
it feels good, man. It feels good, right? Yo, I'm in the light at the end of the tunnel. Paper stacks, yeah, I got them in the bundles. Said I wouldn't take it, had to go and hustle. Get the bag, it ain't never getting fumbled. In the jack, but we came up from the bottom. Through the cracks of the light pour in. Yeah. Go in there. Dive right in, let's go. Move forward and dip in your toes. Let the rhythm take control. It's going down tonight, yeah. Dive right in, let's go. Move forward and dip in your toes. Let the rhythm take control. It's going down tonight, yeah. It's going down. Ha ha. Yeah. It's going down. It's going down. Ha ha. It's going down, baby. It's going down. Yeah. It's going down. Going down.
good afternoon, everyone. Here we are back, Artists of Color, and I'm Elaine Hall-Corbin, your host. And I needed to talk about something that I'm going to be doing on tomorrow, as a matter of fact. I have a women's project that I mentioned called Artists of Color. And I have a young lady here today. Her name is Annette McCarty, and she's going to talk about what Voices of Sisterhood is about.
Oh.
I think I can. Well, we're meeting tomorrow at 12:30, the Roxbury Dudley Branch Library, correct?
Yes.
Yes. 12:30, 3:30, we're gonna have some writing prompts, and we're going to make some artwork. And the pieces, the subject matter is about your story. So you're gonna write your story out, and then we're gonna have a couple of watercolors, some clay, all different types of mediums for you to express your story. We're gonna meet for about 4 Saturdays, correct?
Yes.
Tomorrow's our first Saturday. So please come on down.
Come
please
down and join us.
What time? 12:30 to
3.
3. Yes, 12:30 to 3. So I hope to see you there tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming on.
Yes, of
to
course.
give everybody wanting to know what we're doing. And that is where we are. Thank you and have a great afternoon. And we're not gone yet. So.
That's amazing.
I've
that's
been doing
really
this for a
wonderful.
couple of years. I don't know how they're doing this, but I've been doing this a couple of years. And last year, I did it a couple of years, and then it wasn't going well.
Yeah.
So I stopped it. And last year, I tried to relaunch it. It still didn't work out very well. So I'm trying again this year.
Understood.
I started putting out the information in March.
Okay.
And I'm hoping, I don't know, and I won't know until tomorrow at 12:30.
Okay.
I mean, that's the thing. It's sort of like when I started color film 28 years ago.
Yeah.
It was, I know, showing my age. Well, no, because I was like 12, and so, but that, you know, you just have to keep doing it. You just have to be consistently. And I remember when Kagan started Comics of Color in the library,
yes.
right? It's just sort of like you just have to constantly be there, and people will go, "Oh, I forgot about that," and then, you know, the first time, like, we had like 10 people, and I said to Michael Trent, I remember, my business partner then, I'm like, no one cares, and then the next time we had 30 people, and then, you know, it just grows, and people are so busy, but that is such a, talking about mental health,
right.
and talking about arts and mental health and women especially, yeah, no, I think it's wonderful. I think it's beautiful.
That's
so good luck.
Thank you. I'm just praying, you know, that a little bit of information out here.
Right.
I put everything on social media. So the library has been making flyers, and they tell me every time they make flyers, they're gone as fast as they put them out.
Okay.
But nobody's registering. I've got one registration.
Because they're going to show it. That's just.
And that's what I was told.
And it should be a drop-in. It shouldn't be, so people might think it's 12:30 to 3, but it really is a drop-in. You can drop in.
Yeah.
You don't have to stay the whole time. If you have some time and you want to do some clay, and you want to do some you know, artwork or something like that. It's, you know, it really does help to sort of center the soul.
Okay. Thank you. See, that's why to have my.
We've all had our trials and
queens
errors.
You know, and I'm waiting for somebody to tell me, and of course Lisa did, keep doing it.
Yes.
You know, let people just drop in. And I never thought of it that way.
Yes, just drop in.
Just drop in. So, ladies, it's been a wonderful afternoon.
It's been a pleasure.
Love it.
I have been so happy to see you. You know, the both of you together, but you know, I grab her when I can. And I just grab her.
Yes, you do.
But Lisa, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
I so much appreciate it. And I can't wait for the film festival.
Yes.
And I can't
June
wait
is gonna be
for BAMS.
kicking. It's going to be on fire. You've got Embrace, you've got us, you've got BAMS, you've got Black Pride, you've got Wyatt, who's doing a dance festival.
He is?
Yes.
It's a hot 30 days.
It is a hot 30
Oh,
days.
lo and
But
behold.
we've needed this for
a long time.
And
So
now
here
Which
we are.
we're playing catch up to the 5 years we couldn't get out there to do anything.
That part.
Well, ladies, it's been wonderful.
Thank you.
And I thank you so much. And of course, we'll see you soon.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Don't forget, everybody, Roxbury International Film Festival and Boston Arts, Music, and Soul Festival. Yes.